Welcome, everybody, to the Followers of the Force podcast. Tonight, we're going to be talking all about Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, if you haven't seen the finale, if you haven't seen the show, get out of here. Don't watch any of this. Don't listen to any of it because obviously you don't want to get spoiled. So, but before we get into any discussions,
if you haven't seen this show yet, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, that's probably the better question.
What are you doing with your life?
But before we get into it, if everybody wants to go around the room and reintroduce themselves, because we haven't done a live stream in a little bit. So whoever wants to go first, the floor is yours. And I know, Meg, you've brought a guest. If you want to introduce your guest, that'd be awesome.
I have brought a guest. First, hi, I'm Meg. I'm here. My name is right there. I don't know what else you want me to say. But hey, this is my guest. You've seen him around. We live in the same house. It's great.
Apparently y'all got married and didn't tell anyone?
Apparently we got married and then just went to celebration an hour after. It's fine.
Correct.
See, that's the life I want to live. Just
get
good. Married and then go celebrate Star Wars.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's like the people that get married at the Bristol Renaissance Fair. I'm like, I don't think I'd want to get married where it's 100 in the shade, but you know what? You do you.
Right. So, as you guys know, I'm David, and got Rachel over there.
Hey, guys, I'm off camera because I have COVID.
Nice.
Yeah.
Way to celebrate the finale.
I am having a great time right now. I don't know what you want from me.
How was it going through the tears while being super congested?
I woke up at 7 this morning to watch this and went, I'm on right now where I can work from home if I want to, but I don't have to because they know I'm sick. So it was I was doing a half day today and I woke up this morning and went, I feel like crap. I'm doing this afternoon, not this morning. And then I still watched Kenobi and I'm like, okay, now I just feel like crying and crap.
Lots of tears.
It was a lot.
Oh, man. And we have Jason over there on the bottom left of my screen. I don't know where he is on your screen. So, Jason, I'm glad you're able to finish the episode right before we went live.
Yeah, I think I'm glad. Done 10 minutes.
Okay, so you're fresh.
Oh, his reactions are fresh.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, guys. So let's just dive in. And actually, I want to get Meg and how do you pronounce
Devore?
Devore. Okay, that's what I thought, but I wanted to be sure. I want to get your guys' thoughts first because obviously, Devore, we haven't spoken, and Meg, you haven't been with us in a little bit. So I want to get your guys' thoughts first overall on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Whoever wants to take that first.
I didn't have I go into these things without a ton of expectations because my whole thing is if you don't expect anything, then you're never disappointed. But also, if it's great, which it usually is with Star Wars, you're like, yes, this is even better than I could have ever imagined. So I finished Kenobi and I'm like, this is somehow everything I wanted, even though I didn't really want anything specific. It is the closest thing to perfect I think Star Wars has been for me in a long time. That's my overarching thoughts, but it was really good. It was really good today. It's been really good the whole time. I am beyond satisfied. I am happy.
Yeah, for me, also first off, yes, hi, my name's Devore. I host a Star Wars podcast called A Large View of the Force. I never properly introduced myself, so I thought I should just do that. My thoughts on the show overall was, first off, I think the show, in the tradition of a lot of Star Wars content, particularly a lot of Star Wars TV, it zigged where everybody thought it was going to zag, where we, in all the build up and all the hype up to the show, and even on all the promo to the show, we thought we were going to get a story about Obi-Wan and Luke. And of course, that part of it was there, particularly in the finale. There was a lot of Luke stuff. But then, right off the bat, in the first episode, it took us in a totally different direction and gave us this story that none of us knew we were going to get. And yet, it was a story that was so delightful in that way. And then it's a show that also in as all great Star Wars content does, just really informs and adds to what came before. Like all the like now, like and I know Meg and I were both talking about this, and I know I've seen a lot of people, particularly online, talking about this. How like I have such an urge now to go watch A New Hope after that finale, because there's so much of that show was added to A New Hope. There's so much that it's added to the prequels. There's a lot that it's added to the sequel trilogy. Like it's become this show that has kind of become this through line and tied together all these threads throughout the entire Skywalker saga. And I just love it for that.
Awesome. Yeah, I completely agree with you. This show, I know a story like this, for the most part, we all have our own expectations. We kind of have created this story in our heads for the past however many years. And we've always wondered, okay, what was going on during this time in Obi-Wan's life? And now we get that story. And it's, probably pretty different from what we all thought. But at the same time, it's given us some of the most impactful moments in Star Wars in just 6 episodes, which is insane to even think about. But Rachel and Jason, what are your thoughts about the show as a whole? And then we'll dive into this finale.
I didn't. Oh, go ahead, Jason.
No, I was going to say, the show as a whole, I liked it. There were a couple of episodes that... Actually, there's only one episode that I was just like, eh. But the rest of them, I'm really, really pleased with everything that happened. Really pleased with the way it came out. Super loved watching Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan again. And by the way, and I know because I just watched the finale, I was like, we only got Beru in like one episode, and like she was awesome. But her and Owen both were awesome.
Please, someone give Beru her own series. I would watch her just the random critters that have to be around a moisture farm on Tatooine. Just her, just getting them out. I would watch that. I love her.
Yes, and so I mean, yeah, I mean, there's only one episode that I just didn't care for, and I think it has to do with maybe a bigger problem that maybe we could talk about later. I think it's more of a Disney, it's more of a Disney Plus TV show, and less of a problem with this show in particular. But it just suffers from the same problem. But on the whole, I loved it. It's I would definitely. It's going to be really hard now because I was like, because normally if I watch everything in order, I'd watch like Revenge of the Sith and then Solo and then Rogue One. But now I have to watch. Now I have to watch all 6 episodes of Obi-Wan and then watch Rogue One and then watch. So this is my rewatches now just really added a lot of time.
Well, you're also forgetting watching the entirety of Rebels after Kenobi too. So if you've got the time to watch 4 seasons.
Everybody has time for Rebels. Ain't nobody got time for Clone Wars. Nobody got time for Clone Wars.
No.
I'm trying to find. I tried to get my sister to come on, but I was told that I could read some of the stuff she sent me because it was hysterical. Just like she loved the show. She loved that it because she really got into Star Wars with her roommate in college who loves Obi-Wan Kenobi and loves the Clone Wars. So that's what my sister started with watching. And so we loved that. I feel like they stuck the landing. I feel like the landing, like it gave us the stuff we wanted without, like, I was worried the first thing they were going to have him say in the first episode was hello there and lean too hard into it. But when it happened, it was natural. And I might have yelled, he said the thing, and then realized it was 7:30 in the morning and I live in an apartment. But
Yeah.
I've really felt like they stuck the landing and wrapped up everything I needed wrapped up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. And they there were a lot of, and I guess we'll just start, talking about the finale here. There were a lot of references to previous movies and shows, but they did it in a way that it all made sense. It wasn't like, oh, remember he said this, and she said this, and blah blah blah. But it felt so organic to me, and it felt like nothing else could have been said in those moments. And I'm curious to know what you guys thought about like interactions between Obi-Wan and Leia, interactions between Obi-Wan and Vader, obviously, and then obviously the end scene, which we all lost our minds over, and it's why this guy is, or wait, over here, is sitting back here. But it was such a satisfying episode for those reasons, because you were like, I want closure for these few things, and we got that, which I thought was really cool.
It's made for a blaster, Leia. You're 10 years old. Like he didn't give her dad a fucking laser sword at 9.
Exactly.
Words of my sister. And
Get up.
Obi-Wan was the responsible one. Imagine if Qui-Gon trained him. Have a nuclear bomb, Anakin.
Hey,
uh,
gave Luke a toy, and then Leia gets a holster. But
I just, the look on his face was like, you are 10 years old. And as somebody put it, at this point, Jyn Erso is 12 and at target practice with Saw Gerrera. So,
Yeah. So I want to know what y'all's favorite parts of this episode were. And Devor, I'll start again with you. What was the moment that really captured your attention in this finale?
So I have to go to the Obi-Wan Vader fight, and particularly the breaking of the mask, because you were able to see it a bit in the wide shot, but I think now that we're in square mode, you can't see it as well. I love Darth Vader. Darth Vader is my favorite Star Wars character. He has always been my favorite Star Wars character. He will always be my favorite Star Wars character. And so just overall, like, this whole show has just been a real treat from that perspective. I think he was handled so very well. We got some of the best Vader moments in all of his storytelling have happened in this show. But then particularly in that fight, and particularly the moment when Obi-Wan breaks the mask and they have the conversation, because you were just talking about the homages and the nods to other Star Wars content. And of course there is on the surface, there is the parallel to Twilight of the Apprentice from Star Wars Rebels, when Ahsoka breaks the mask and sees into Anakin. But really, the parallels end there. Because like, you watch Twilight of the Apprentice, and it's this kind of tragic, empathic moment where Ahsoka's trying to reach out to Anakin, and she's saying, I won't leave you, not this time. And of course, Anakin takes a hot second where he kind of thinks about it. And then he ignites the saber and he goes back. This isn't like what we got in this finale is not that. Yeah. We got something that was macabre. It was unsettling. It was creepy. Like, you have the glow of the red lightsaber reflecting back in his face. There's like one shot where he's kind of looking at Obi-Wan and he almost looks like a zombie kind of staring at him. Like, it's totally different. It's something much darker.
It was just really scary.
Very scary. And then not just the visuals, but also the way that they kind of synth both Hayden's and the James Earl Jones Darth Vader voice, and how it breaks in and out. Or like, there's one point where like it cracks and it's Darth Vader, and then it goes back to Hayden. It was just so well done.
I completely agree with you. That moment, and somebody made a pretty good point about that, where they said, Ahsoka broke one half of Anakin's mask, Obi-Wan broke the other, but Luke was the one that was able to get Vader to take off the mask.
Yeah.
And I was like, way to kill me today. And it was And it's true. Like that moment with the, because at first his eyes are normal, and it's Anakin, and then you see the switch back to Vader, and it's, in an instant. And then him screaming Obi-Wan, it's like taking you back to Mustafar, and you can infer whether that is a 100%, angry yell, or also like a call for help, like Obi-Wan, don't leave me here. Still a little bit of that struggle. So there's a lot to unpack.
Did you see that someone spliced together that yell of Obi-Wan with Maul's scream of Kenobi, and it's the greatest thing ever?
What? No.
I want it to be my ringtone.
Is it on Twitter?
Yeah, I'll have to find it again.
Tag all of us, because I need to see that.
I definitely will.
Cool.
I might have to change. Right now, my ringtone is BB-8, and it just might have to start being Obi-Wan.
Oh man, let that go off in a theater. That'd be hilarious. All right, Meg, I want to hear from you. What was your favorite part of this episode?
I'm gonna base this on what made me cry the most, which was because I have a lot of favorite moments, like Reva talking to Obi-Wan is one of them. But I think for me, it has to be when Obi-Wan and Leia are talking toward the end, and he's telling her all the ways she's like her parents. Because we'd seen that, if you look really deep, you can infer different things, but him saying that to her face like that broke me, because it's just I didn't expect them to have a moment like that ever. Right. And here we are getting this I knew them and you are both of them, and you're the best of both of your parents, and it hurts so good.
Yeah, it's so funny. Rachel, I was talking to you this morning, and I was
yelling in your general direction this morning.
I was mentioning that exchange between Obi-Wan and Leia, the moment I heard Leia say, "Will I ever see you again?" immediately took me back to Phantom with Anakin, and then I was like, "Wait." No. After these characters said this, the next time they saw the person they were talking to, that person died.
Nope.
Why are you doing this to me right now?
I was fine. I was good. God, I need more Gatorade.
It was, and the delivery of that line, it's almost like the same way that Anakin said it, which is really, really heartbreaking. Because I just finished watching A New Hope about an hour ago, and now watching that fight and watching that moment where Obi-Wan looks over, sees Luke and Leia, now you're with all this knowledge now about what he was doing and what he has done, you're just okay, you could tell how at peace he was. Finally they were together, and the future will sort itself out, as he says in this episode, which is really cool. But Jason, what about you? What was your favorite part of this episode?
I want to say that it was, some of the really quiet moments between Leia and Obi-Wan, or Obi-Wan and Luke, or Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. But if I'm honest, it was during the fight when he lifted all the rocks with the Force and threw them all at Vader at the same time.
Yeah.
That was probably that was the moment I went, oh crap. That was the one I was the most surprised at.
Obi-Wan is not playing.
Don't I like all those other moments fine. But when he put 100 rocks and just chucked him at Vader at the same time, it was that's pretty cool. All right, that's cool.
And I love the it really did look like Rey in The Last Jedi. Which was the first thought I had, and then I just remembered, lifting rocks. So that was really cool. Rachel,
Obi-Wan is he's really the best. The only Sith he didn't take out was Dooku. The rest, he took them all out. So
yeah, Dooku, for whatever reason, just had his number.
Yeah, Dooku. He went out like a punk every time he went up against him.
Dooku trained his master, so
that's fair. That's very true.
Yeah,
that's very true. He knew his tricks.
My sister apparently has been watching Twitter about this, and she's like, "It is all Yoda's disaster lineage happening, right?"
Oh my! Her and Emily have
Yeah.
to be best friends with the
I
Yoda hate.
I don't know. But I believe she yelled about the talking frog a lot. I don't know. I took a nap after this episode because I wasn't feeling so great, and I woke up to 25 text messages and 3 missed calls from my little sister. So
Nice.
apparently she had some feelings.
Nice. What are your feelings though about your favorite part of this episode?
I loved the lifting rocks parallel because there's been some real parallels to the sequels, which I have loved. Everybody knows how I feel about the sequels. Also, there's the point, and it's such a little point, and it's not even Obi-Wan and Vader so much, but it's when Roken, I think his name is, says, "I'm just getting started."
Mm-hmm.
And I broke down because that's what it is. It's the spark.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that every piece of advertising that said "Hope survives" made me cry, but y'all know how it is.
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right. I think we just saw sort of the very, very early beginnings of the rebellion. And that was super cool. And
I'm just gonna cry now, just quietly.
I was slightly confused by was that I guess I was thinking the deleted scenes, but the conversation that Bale and Obi-Wan have, and Bale says, the Empire is getting, bolder,
mhm.
and which makes it sound like the rebellion hasn't started yet. But again, I think I'm thinking of those deleted scenes, which from Revenge of the Sith, that are technically, are they technically canon? Are they not canon?
I think they say they're canon if they don't contradict anything.
Well, it's just like him and Mon Mothma and Padme are all like, this isn't right. We do something. And so I was kind of the impression that he had been following up with that, but the way he was talking to Obi-Wan, it makes it sound like he hasn't been, and that they need to start forming a rebellion because the Empire is just getting worse.
I mean, my sort of thoughts on this, and it's kind of informed particularly by Rebels, is the idea that like there is rebelling happen, but it's a bunch of different groups and individuals in a bunch of places. And then when we get to Rebels time, that's like, okay, now we're the Alliance and we're all coming together.
Okay, yeah. The Rebels is really the bringing together of all the else. Yeah, you're right.
I wanted to say one of the things that I really liked about this episode was, and I've been dying to talk about this all day, but I haven't wanted to spoil anything. The fact that Reva lived.
I have thoughts and feelings, and I might have yelled them all at you at 8 a.m. Anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we haven't seen that in Star Wars, and if we have, very, very minimally. I've wanted to see what happens to somebody that you thought was so far gone that the only thing that would happen is either they would get killed or they would sacrifice themselves for something. And in this case, she obviously doesn't kill Luke because we have, all the other movies. But she returns him and then basically, doesn't do what Vader did, what Anakin did. And I thought that was a great conversation between her and Obi-Wan, saying, because of what you did, now they have peace and you can, move on. And what you do now is up to you. And that was something that I've wanted in Star Wars for a long time, and it's something I wanted for Ben Solo's character, which obviously we didn't get.
Still salty.
Yeah.
Will forever be salty.
3 years later. But I thought that was such a good choice because now the storytelling with her, you could do anything. And it's going to be something that I think she can really weave her way into different stories and do it in a way where it's not going to feel out of place. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on that part of the episode and what you think about it.
Wait, I just had an idea.
Do it.
What if she becomes a fulcrum? Wouldn't that
Or
be
what if
cool?
she helps the people on the path?
Yeah, that too.
That's what I was thinking.
There
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I was going to say my wife can do whatever she wants to do. She's great. Okay.
Clarify one thing. She doesn't know that Luke is Anakin's son. She just knew that Luke was important to Obi-Wan, correct? Like
That's
she
what I
never
assumed.
Yes.
Yeah.
that Luke is Anakin's son, right?
Not fully sure because the message she hears says that if he doesn't know about the children, so she knows those kids are almost important to Vader too,
Yeah,
because it's
important.
if
She doesn't know that Luke and Leia are. I probably should go back and watch the message because all she has is the message from Bail.
Mhm.
That's
yeah. And the part she got, I was under the impression that she was trying to hurt almost that she knew that Luke was connected to Vader. Like she wanted to hurt Obi-Wan, but she also wanted to hurt Vader.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that Luke is Anakin's son. Just that he's important. I mean, she might just assume that, but she doesn't. There was no confirmation. She wasn't doing that under the confirmation that
No.
Luke is Anakin's son. Okay,
Yeah.
that's odd.
This child seems like a disaster. I bet I could guess his parents.
God.
And it also felt very much like Maul's confrontation with Obi-Wan in Rebels, where he's like, "Oh, why are you here? You're protecting something. Oh, you're protecting someone." And then obviously Obi-Wan is very, very, very protective at that point, and we know what happens there. But
Also, Maul doesn't know that.
no.
No.
Okay.
At that point, it's just pure.
They just know that Luke is important, and he's
Yeah.
important to Obi-Wan, and probably important to Vader. They just don't know why.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The one I was always wondering how much they knew was Bria Organa, because you don't know if she knows the full story of the kid she had.
I would figure she does.
I'm trying to think back to Leia, Princess of Alderaan, because I feel like it seems like in that book she knows, but maybe not.
I just remember I haven't read Princess of Alderaan yet, but Bloodline,
Oh
the
my God.
message.
Yeah.
I know. It's on my list of 500 things to read,
Mhm.
and I have COVID brain and can't focus on any of them. But in Bloodline, the message that she finds that revealed it to the galaxy was from Bail.
Mhm.
So really, you never know.
Yeah.
But you'd hope that she'd know because you see in like the Queen's Shadow how much she liked Padme, and you'd hope that she'd know that Leia was Padme's
Right.
kid,
Mhm.
even if not Vader's.
Right. Yeah, I need to reread that book.
I don't know. I'm having a lot of feelings.
Listen, this was a heavy episode. We haven't even gotten into. Well, I guess we could already because it was something that we had been waiting for since episode 1. But that ending with a certain Force Ghost.
Mhm.
What
I
did
was gonna
everybody
be
think of that?
So mad if they didn't do it. I was gonna be so mad because I'm like, they've set it up. I don't care how they make it work, but he has to appear. He has to. And then he appeared and he was sassy as hell, and I loved it.
Mhm.
Was anybody surprised that he actually manifested himself and wasn't just a voice?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't like I didn't like throw anything at the television, but I was like, okay, because I sort of thought that that would be that like. Well, I mean, Qui-Gon's had what 12 years to figure this out, so maybe he can figure out how to manifest himself
Yeah.
physically. He was already kind of trying a little bit in the prequels and just just a voice. So I guess it would make sense. I do love the idea of like an odd couple sitcom of Obi-Wan and the ghost of Qui-Gon. Just
So I heard the best idea for Obi-Wan season 2. It is simply set just after A New Hope, and it's Vader trying to go about his normal life with the ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi just moving things and just generally causing havoc. He tries to get in the shower. Hello there. He tries to pick up the remote.
God.
Obi-Wan moves it 5 feet. It would be great. I would love it. It would be the greatest thing.
I think there we'd see the Kylo Ren rage. But yeah, I mean, what was a moment that surprised you guys that you didn't think we were going to get? Because for me, I think it was oh no, I got to think back.
I don't mind this.
What's yours? Go for it while I think.
Palpatine. I didn't think
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
yes, a good one.
was so happy.
and I loved it the way, because the minute he leaves them on the minute he leaves Vader, I'm like, well, Vader's just going to kidnap Leia next week, like to get Obi-Wan back out again. But I loved in that conversation with Palpatine, he's like, you're dwelling way too much on being Anakin Skywalker. Only Anakin Skywalker would care about Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
And I sort of like the way that he sort of shut down that, it's like, if you run across him again, you run across him again, but we don't need to waste all this time trying to find just one dude. So I really liked that. But by the way, I am horribly paraphrasing that scene, but
Yeah.
I really liked the way he kind of shut down, because it starts with, we've sent out all the Vader's like, we got all the probes out there, and Palpatine's like, wait, what? You did what? So that Palpatine was because I
did what with my army?
Yeah, I pretty much knew we were going to get. I pretty much knew we were going to get Qui-Gon because they just talked about it. But Palpatine, and I liked it, and I liked the way that they used him to wrap up this Vader, kidnapping Leia every other week thing. So,
yeah. Meg, what about you?
What came to mind first is Obi-Wan and Luke meeting. I just never thought it would be something that we would get. I figured that he would like keep his distance, at least from him, like for reasons. But the way they did it was just perfect. It was like it happened, but it wasn't like, and then you got the whole there. So like there's that. I just like, it was one of those like little things at the end. I was like, he said the thing. It's like I didn't see it coming. It wasn't like a huge thing, but it was special. I liked it.
Yeah, and it was it's something that I didn't even think about, like, oh, is he just gonna leave and ride off, or is he gonna say anything to Luke? And I wasn't expecting Owen to be the one like, hey, you want to meet Luke. I thought it would just happen.
That was my biggest surprise. I think I mean, the Palpatine appearance is up there, but I think, that tender moment from Owen, because particularly after the whole Reva thing, like I figured the last thing was going to be him like, get out of here. Like, I don't want to ever see your face again. Like, don't be in 100 miles of us. But like, I mean, ultimately, Obi-Wan does say, he talks about like he's going to keep his distance and he's going to let Owen and Beru just do their thing. But then, that moment where he's like, you want to go say hi to him and give him the little toy ship and everything. Yeah, like it was, they ended on better terms. Like, still not great, but better terms than I thought they were going to end.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
You sort of the impression, though, that Luke and Obi-Wan have met at some other time also. But because I'm just keep thinking to A New Hope. He's like, I wonder if he means old Ben Kenobi. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe...
I think there is some comic moment where Obi-Wan rescues him from some Tuskens or something. I might be remembering that not totally correct, but
there's also another comic or something where Luke is racing the T-16 and like Obi-Wan is like there helping him kind of. I mean, completely wrong, but
no, there've been moments in comics for sure that have seen the two of them, meet again. But
Mos Eisley is not that big of a town. If
That's
Ben has
true.
to come in for supplies, have you lived in a small town? Everybody knows the weird guy that lives over the hill.
That's actually a really good point.
Welcome to small town America.
That's a really good point. But Rachel, what was your moment that surprised you?
I'm gonna say, sorry, I'm moving. That the moment that surprised me the most was Obi-Wan and Anakin talking, I
Mm.
guess, instead of just fighting.
Mhm.
Um, where you almost get the sense that Obi-Wan was apologizing and Anakin was almost absolving him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like, so Obi-Wan could let go of the guilt
Mm-hmm.
because and Anakin's like, no, you didn't make me, I made me, and they actually talked.
Mhm.
Again, in the words of my sister, because I just asked her this question, she said, also when Obi-Wan said he was sorry because he's an emotionally constipated idiot. Um, but yeah, just that idea that these people who were never like they weren't allowed to have emotions and they have this really emotional talk that they could have probably had 10 years ago and then
Yeah.
things would have probably not gotten this bad.
Mhm.
But again, in the words of my sister, but they're in some emotionally stunted order run by a talking frog.
You know, I was trying to
I mean,
figure out who you were referencing as a frog, and now I just realized who it is. So I'm just a little slow today. Uh, but for
it's
me,
I was wondering because I thought that was funny and then nobody laughed and I'm like, okay, apparently I'm not
I
killing
was like,
tonight.
um, no, but for me, I think the biggest surprise was I don't want to say the proactiveness, but once Owen and Baru figured out things were happening, how Baruj was just like taking charge. Like
Yeah.
it just
I'm
I
gonna get the
wasn't expecting
shotgun.
it. And then she's like, all right, I've got this rifle here stowed away. Take our positions. Let's be ready for when she gets here. And I'm like, okay, these people are more than capable of protecting this kid. Obviously, more so from native uh, beings of Tatooine rather than an Inquisitor. But
or Stormtrooper.
even then they held their own, and I think they put up a fight so hard that the only way the Empire was able to kill them was to burn them alive.
I
That's how I'm
think
framing it in my mind now. They were just near unbeatable until they just lit a
I,
match and
I was talking
yeah.
to someone, I can't remember who it was, so if it was one of you, I apologize. But they were saying, now I wonder, did they fight when it happened? And I said, I think it was their thing with Riva and everything was they knew she was coming and they were prepared.
Yeah.
I think the thing is the stormtroopers, it had been quiet for so long, I think they got the jump on them, basically.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I
And
want to
just
know
sheer numbers too.
I want to know what Beru did before she married Owen because that woman has a history doing something, and that's the story I want.
I would love it. I don't know if you guys have watched Hawkeye, um, but I don't want to spoil it, so I won't say. But there's a character there that we learn had a very um, storied history doing some, you know, covert work. And
Oh,
I
Sketchy
think that
shit.
would be, yeah. And I think that'd be really cool if we found that out about Baru. Just like back in the day, she was just, wrecking shop somewhere. And
It's
that'd be
like
pretty
if
funny.
did any of y'all ever watch Supernatural? Or am I the only person on the
I
planet that
watched the
actually watched
first
that
two
show?
episodes.
I watched a couple seasons, but it's this thing you find out that the guy's mom died and his dad has been a hunter for supernatural creatures since then.
Mm-hmm.
But when they start going back in time, because the show's weird, you find out it was not their dad's family that was the family of hunters. His mom's family were. So his mom was like a secret badass for all of these years that you never knew. And that's how I'm imagining Baru. She was secretly a badass, and then she's like, I'm gonna settle down, I'm gonna be a moisture farmer, and then somebody threatens her son and she's like, oh hell no, get my shotgun.
Yeah. And
David, when
speaking,
you rewatched A New Hope today, were you
yeah.
looking around the Lars homestead trying to figure out where Baru's got all the guns hidden?
I didn't, but I'm gonna go back and do that just to see like all those hidden compartments. Um, but one thing I did want to say, because Rachel, you just mentioned that about Supernatural, and this is like bit off topic, but I will bring it full circle in a second. In Shadow of the Sith, which comes out in 6 days, and we'll have a review for you guys very soon, we learn a lot about Rey's parents. And we learn things about her mom that you're like, oh, makes a lot of sense for how Rey is and some of the things that she can do really well. But one
Am
thing
I gonna
did,
love Ray more than I already do?
yes,
Because I don't know if that's
100%
possible.
yes, 100%
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
But there's also a character in the book that, in a similar way, Riva could end up the same way as that character. And Meg, I think you know who I'm talking about. Where she doesn't necessarily do anything anymore if she decides not to, but just kind of goes away and lives, just a peaceful life somewhere else, and and that's it. Because obviously, she's one of very few people that knows about Obi-Wan, knows about Luke, knows where the both of them are, and obviously we can't say that she never told anybody else because we don't know those stories, but I would be really, really surprised if she did something like that. But I think, the way that her character's trajectory went in this last episode, she's going to be more of an ally than anything else. And I really want more stories with her, whether it's in novels or a show or whatever
Comic
it is.
run like Crimson Reign.
Yeah.
I one of my Missy just mentioned Baru kind of reminds her of Lyra. Like, it's not a person you would expect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
But
that's a good comparison.
Doesn't she
Yeah.
get Riva when she comes in? Like,
I'm sorry,
oh,
I couldn't.
yeah.
You cut out for a second.
Like, doesn't Baru deck Riva when she
Yeah.
comes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's not afraid of that threat at all.
Yeah.
To quote the franchise that shall not be named, there's big "not my daughter, you bitch" energy.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And man, now not a negative question, but is there anything that you guys wanted to see in this episode or in this series that we didn't get that you're a little bummed about? And whoever wants to take that first, go ahead.
I'll do mine because it's really simple and dumb. But when Vader goes to meet Obi-Wan, I wanted him to take the TIE fighter, and he took a shuttle. And I really wanted Vader TIE fighter, and we didn't get that. So that was a little.
You just wanted to see Vader spin in the TIE fighter.
I kind of wanted to see him stand on it like he did in Rep.
Somebody would have gone to Hayden Christensen and been like, "Sir, would you like to stand on a TIE fighter?" And I feel like he would have been like, "I've been waiting my entire life for this."
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to see the TIE fighter, but yeah. Now that I think about it, yeah, I wanted to see him like stand on it, like land, and he's like standing on top of it. Yeah, I wanted to see that.
Okay, so preferred the TIE fighter over the shuttle. Okay.
Yeah.
Rachel, what about you? Anything that you wanted that we didn't get?
I know it would have been dumb and it would have been made everything not as thing, but I wanted somebody to make a joke about the high ground.
There was an
I was
opportunity.
waiting for it.
Vader
I
had
might
an opportunity.
I saw that and I'm like, okay, either that or Vader needed to drop a really bad pun, because just Vader's pun in Rogue One is the redeeming quality of them putting Vader in that movie when he didn't need to be in that movie, but I digress. Anyway, I felt like he would have had he couldn't have resisted. He's like, my old master's here, I have to drop a really bad dad joke right now.
That I was honestly waiting for it because he stood there a little too long.
I was
he's
just
getting ready to say
I
something.
believe I might have yelled into my group chat, "Who has the high ground now?"
Yeah.
And then when
Well,
I
that
read through
would
my
have been
sister's
hilarious.
notes on it, it also said, "Who has the high ground now?" And then her next note was, "Oh, maybe just assuming someone's dead and walking away isn't good enough. Who could have learned that in these movies?"
That just goes to show, and I think that's why. Ooh, that's actually, you just made me think of something. I think that's why Obi-Wan is so, like, on the side of Luke. You have to kill him. Like, I've
Killed him one time.
I've had the opportunity twice before and I didn't. And at this point, he thinks Anakin's gone. So that's actually a really good thought now about that movie.
That, and I wanted them to meet up with the rebellion because I really needed little Leia and little Jin to meet like in the solo epilogue. But that's just me. And
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Have you met me? I'm just constantly on my bullshit.
Meg, what about you?
Listen, I know it would have been so stupid. It would have made so many people mad. That's why I wanted it. Why did we not get any helicopter lightsabers?
Correct.
I know.
Correct.
Listen, the Grand
really
Inquisitor
thought
could
that
have
was
just at
coming.
any moment could have just flown in. It would you didn't have to draw attention to it. It could have just been like a couple seconds.
That would have made that scene where he appears and he's alive again better if he would have just helicoptered in.
It would have been amazing.
I would have lost my mind.
If he would have just come in, touched down next to Vader, like, hello, third sister. Amazing.
Oh man, that's funny. So Devor, is that your missed
That is-
opportunity as well?
Yes, helicopter saber.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, if you had a lightsaber that spun like that, you totally would use it as a helicopter. I would totally use it as a helicopter, right? Like,
Go
people
anywhere
that
you
are like,
wanted to anytime.
people are like, that's so stupid. I'm like, I don't think you understand what I would try to do if I had a lightsaber.
I think for me, and again, it didn't need to happen because at this point, when you get into the territory of trying to mention everything that's ever happened in the past, you're just like, okay, we
I
get
know
it.
what you're gonna say.
I wanted a mention of Ahsoka.
Oh,
I
that's not what I thought you were gonna say.
Yeah, I wanted Obi-Wan to kind of just maybe prod a little more to get Anakin, to the surface a little bit more.
At this point, Obi-Wan still thinks Ahsoka's dead, right? They do not know that the other one survived.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. But I think just bringing the memories back, like, Ahsoka, Padme, just really anyone else. If you would have mentioned Rex, I would have been like, jeez.
No, they already had the Clone War vet, and I already almost died. That hurt. That hurt a lot.
So that was mine.
I kind of expected them to mention Satine too. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
know
right, yeah.
they couldn't, but
maybe if they do there's rumors of if fans are really clamoring for it, there's a chance we get a season 2, according to Kathleen Kennedy.
I don't need a season 2 because this was a perfect story. But if they wanted to do like almost like, I guess it's more episodic, but little stories of Obi-Wan's life, I don't care if it's a big mission. I want to see what his daily life is like.
I prefer a novel, to be honest.
I want to watch Ewan McGregor read me the phone book, okay?
Give me a 1,000-page novel that's a sort of like a journal of what he was like, thoughts, experiences, training. Like, I want to know really what Obi-Wan was thinking about the rebellion once he started hearing things.
Yeah.
I want to know what the training was with Qui-Gon. I want to know how that went. I want to know...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I want to know all of that small stuff that would just inform the character more. And I think in a novel, you have so much time to do it.
Yeah. And then Ewan McGregor could do the audiobook.
There you go. Or even James Arnold Taylor or Stephen Stanton, one of the two.
Look, I'm good here with that. So, another thing mentioning Ahsoka, this is something my sister mentioned. She's like, okay, so, like, Obi-Wan now, maybe he's changed, but he's all like, oh my God, I can't put a 10-year-old in danger and hand her a blaster. And she's like, you used to hand Ahsoka explosives. So apparently Obi-Wan learned his lesson at some point in the last 10 years, because now he's willing to see children as children and not as,
Yeah,
although he does.
Ahsoka was a Padawan. Ahsoka was training to be a Jedi. That was par for the course. Like,
She was 14!
that was her job.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've met many 14-year-olds. I don't care how well trained they are. I'm not handing one a blaster.
Well,
I'll give Ahsoka a blaster before I give one to, a lot of other people. I'll be like, I trust you.
I don't know.
Like, who would you rather give a blast to, Ahsoka or blind Han in Return of the Jedi?
Oh no!
Oh God!
I just don't feel like Han Solo should be allowed to hold weapons, but I feel that way about a lot of men. What did I say? Never mind. Anyway, I'm just saying, Obi-Wan at some point, like, he has like almost started to recalibrate his thinking. My point with it is he's recalibrating away from the Jedi way into like normal person mode, and it's kind of good.
Yeah. And then now we have, it's the one thing about Star Wars that always gets me is time. Because now in just a few years, well, more than a few years, maybe like several years, Ezra shows up on Tatooine, and we have another, which is cool now to know that he has come into contact with other, Jedi in the past, and kind of
otherwise he'd be a lot weirder having been alone for 19 years. He'd be like that dude in the Ewok movie.
I haven't seen that. Still have not seen the Ewok
Don't.
movies.
It's terrible. And I'd watch the holiday special again before I watched the Ewok movie.
I was just gonna say, like, what's worse? Like, I had to watch the holiday special sober, and like I survived.
That is impressive.
I got tanked. I
didn't have any alcohol.
Special's not bad if you're drunk. It never gets better. It never. It's never. You could do all the drugs. You could do like Scarface level of cocaine. And
no, I think for the holiday special, I think you have to drop acid, because I think that's what they did when they wrote it. I'm pretty sure that's the key, but I have not tested this.
And don't test it. Especially while you have COVID, maybe not the best idea.
Yeah, not really good.
But yeah, guys, we're coming up here to an hour. So what are y'all's closing thoughts on the finale, on Obi-Wan? Do you want to see more of this character and this actor play, or go on into the next few years before we see him again in Rebels and A New Hope? What are your thoughts? Oh, I've stumped everybody.
No,
Unless somebody's waiting.
I didn't know what the rotation was.
Oh, whoever wants to go first.
I'm torn. I so enjoy watching Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. So selfishly, I would like to see that. I don't know if I necessarily need a season 2. If it came out, clearly I would watch it. But I just kind of feel like I was gonna do my big complaint about all the Disney shows, but you were mentioning, David, earlier a novel, and I think that would be preferable for continuing a lot of these stories, just because on these Disney Plus shows we have to have like action every so often, and I just feel like sometimes it happens and not necessarily in Obi-Wan, but in just sort of all of these Disney Plus shows, especially the Book of Boba Fett. Like, we just have to have like a fight every now and then because we haven't had one, as opposed to like sort of
because Fennec needs to kill a guy. Okay, it just needs to happen.
We're just supposed to like fleshing out the story and fleshing out the characters. It's like, oh well, now we gotta have action because we haven't had action in like 25 minutes.
Right.
So that's why I'm like not super hyped for a season 2. Although I would certainly love to see more Obi-Wan Kenobi stories between here and The New Hope. So Maybe a
All right.
one-man show Ewan McGregor does? I don't know.
Meg, what about you?
I want to see more from certain characters, but I really don't want a season 2. I mean, if, again, as Jason said, if we get one, I'm gonna watch it and it's gonna be fine. But like, I feel like one of the benefits of like bringing back these legacy characters like Obi-Wan and Vader is that you can attract people to the show, introduce them to new characters, and then they're like, oh, I want to see more. And then you give them their own shows. Give me a Reva show. Give me Roken doing something.
I would
Give
die.
me a
I
prequel
will
and
die
bring
for Roken.
Tala back. Like, I want to see more stories set in this era with these, like with the path and things going on like that. I don't necessarily need more Obi-Wan, not because Ewan McGregor isn't great, because he is, but like he's got other stuff to do also. Like, it was great to have him back, but like if we didn't get him back for a while or ever, it'd be okay. Like, this is great. We got this. I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, we never thought this was going to happen.
No.
After 2005, we thought, okay, that was it. We had, 6 years of Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan Kenobi, and now we've been blessed with 6 episodes of really, really impactful storytelling. But Devor, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat as Meg in terms of future storytelling, in that I think, like, for the main characters, I think the show really wrapped up the threads that they were doing with it, like in terms of Obi-Wan and his journey and him kind of getting back into his Jedi groove, and then we get Vader, him kind of just doubling down on being Vader and all that. So if we were going to follow this in any way, whether that be another show, whether that be a novel or anything, I would like to see those open threads, and those would be Reva and where does she go, and then what happens with everybody on the path. Like you mentioned, Roken. Like, I would love like a character we haven't mentioned yet, like Hajo, and like what he does.
Yeah.
Like, he's just such a great character.
Absolutely.
I love him, and I would love to have him get his own show.
Yeah, like I think I would want to see. I think those are the open storytelling threads that are still out there, and so if they're going to explore anything, like, I want them to explore that stuff.
Completely agree.
Those characters, we don't know what happens to them. Like, I mean, I love the show, but like, I was never worried Obi-Wan was going to die.
Right.
We're have a Roken show or a Reva show, since we don't clearly see them in A New Hope. Being able to at least have that on the table, that like if their lives are in jeopardy, they could really die because they don't have plot armor. So
right.
Oh, Tala not having plot armor will forever be the saddest thing.
Yeah, that was another thing I was gonna say. Obi-Wan now has seen a character die in episode 1. Thought that he left Anakin for dead in episode 3. Satine died in his arms in the Clone Wars. Maul died in his arms in Rebels, and he watched
Plus
Tala
all of the war death.
sacrifice. Yeah, he's been surrounded by death for basically his entire life.
My thing with this is, I would love for this to be just the limited series, because it's such a good compact storytelling.
Yep.
But like everybody else said, I'm a real sucker for Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and he loves doing it. So it's like, even if it's not a huge high stakes big series like this, just even if they just give us some little Obi-Wan adventures here, and I would be fine with that if they wanted to do other spin-offs and let the characters see him again. Like Haja coming to visit him in his hut. Like, I would be here for that. I think Haja and the Jawas might get along fairly well. Just saying. The thing is, though, while this is such a great piece of storytelling and so cohesive, it's just so enchanting what he brings to Obi-Wan. And it's like, if they'll give me more of it, I will take it, and I will say thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is his best performance as Obi-Wan.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah.
As good as he is in the prequels, this is his best. I mean, that's it. That conversation in this final episode between him and Vader is just heartbreaking. Just the look on his face.
Oh God, yeah.
When he says "I'm sorry,"
yeah,
The two things I don't think we talked about too much are the direction of this, because Deborah Chow was the
Give
first
her
woman
everything.
to direct in Star Wars. Yes, give her everything.
Give
Please
her
give her a
everything.
movie. Give her a movie. Give her
Just-
shows. Give her money. Just give it all to her.
She gets it.
Mhm.
And I believe her name's Natalie Holt, the first woman to compose for Star
Mhm.
Wars.
Yep. Oh yeah.
The Force theme in this episode at the end, I think that's what finally made me cry.
Mhm.
But yes, give them everything, let them do whatever they want, hand them the
Mhm.
checkbook, and just let them go.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna be the last Star Wars for either one of them. So I think
No.
Oh
no,
Yeah.
no, give them the checkbook and just write Kathleen Kennedy, just write the check and hand it to her and just let them go.
Mhm.
I think Deborah Chow will at some point have her own movie. It's just a matter of time now. Basically, she already did. This
Yeah.
is 6 hour,
Yeah.
almost 6 hour movie, just
Mhm.
chopped up. But yeah, I mean, she's been just on fire. From that first episode she directed in season 1 of The Mandalorian, I was like, yeah, this.
She did episode 3,
understands.
right? The
Yeah.
Sin.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the best one.
yeah, where all the Mandos show up and
Uh huh.
hmm
Mhm.
Okay,
She
so
just
Deborah
gets
Chow and Bryce Dallas Howard shall be given the world.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I know Taika Waititi is obviously a little higher on the direction track since he's getting his movie, but I think a lot of these directors that have found their footing even more so in The Mandalorian and in the Book of Boba Fett and now Deborah Chow with Obi-Wan, I think they're going to get their shot at some point. And I'm really excited to see what they do with it. And now I'm even more excited for The Acolyte and see what Leslie Headland does with that.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's awesome. But anyone else have any final
can we
thoughts?
Say, now that
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's over, we are entering Andor season.
Here we go.
Yes, and that is a show that if you wanted to have a communication with Bail and Obi-Wan, it's around the same,
Yeah.
maybe a little after
About
this
5
show.
years later.
Yeah,
5 years
so
later.
there could be a little interaction there.
I just really hope y'all are ready for me to be completely insufferable for 3 months, because I'm going to be so annoying.
10 episodes.
So annoying.
12, I think.
12.
12. 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't
I'm going
remember.
to be obnoxious for 3 months.
Little
I'm
less,
here for it. What was that, Jason?
I said we're a little less than 6 weeks away from that. So
Yep.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we have some Marvel stuff concurrently with Andor. But that's for another podcast.
in retrospect, just to kind of go around, did you like that it was a limited series, or would you have preferred just like a 2.5 hour movie?
I like the series.
Yeah,
the series?
series.
Okay.
I really liked the series. I've only seen one person say that they wished it was a movie because they thought it had too much in it. And I'm like, no, give me more.
I liked that it was a limited series, but I also liked that it was directed by one person.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
We haven't really gotten that in Star Wars live action shows yet. And like,
Mm-hmm.
I think it did make a difference. I mean, Deborah Chow, obviously, it's good because of that, but like her kind of being able to take charge of everything,
Right.
kind of do it in one cohesive thing, I think
And
made
also
a positive difference.
to jump off of that, also it just sort of having one tone for the entire thing. Whereas
Yeah.
I think about like even some of the seasons of Mando, especially Book of Boba Fett, where the tone was just all over the place depending on
Mhm.
who was directing the episode.
Yeah.
That was my question: is how if you guys were going to rank these, between Mando 1, Mando 2, this, and Book of Boba, where are we?
This is number 1 for me.
This is the top for me.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's top for me too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think-
probably same. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's just the fact that it's a character that we've wanted to see again for a very long time. You're not having to really deal with being introduced to a new character as the titular character. And it was just a story that, again, you wanted to know what was going on during this time, and you wanted to see, Ewan back, and you wanted to see what they would do with that story, and it was a mix of the anticipation plus the excitement of seeing these people again. It's gonna be. I think something else might top it, but for a very different reason. I think this one will always be like my favorite.
Little Leia was the delight that I didn't know we needed.
She was fantastic.
Yes.
She was fantastic.
If you want to get really emotional, think of what Carrie Fisher would have thought of her and then cry for 3 hours.
Imagine them two at Celebration together.
Oh no. Oh, God damn it. Jason.
Oh man.
Imagine
David,
her with
sorry,
Gary.
I'm yelling at the wrong person.
She would have been with Carrie's dog.
Yes.
Oh,
God.
She would have been with Carrie's dog. And I guarantee you, because now she's going to be at Celebration all the time.
Oh yeah.
I think you're going to see Billy Lord there with her.
Oh God.
all
It
the time.
hurts. It all hurts.
Stop it.
Just saying. You know,
I don't know.
it's a day
If
of
you think
tears.
if I think about Gary Fisher too much, apparently they let him watch The Last Jedi and he perked up whenever he heard his mom's voice.
Oh,
Stop
And I'm going to
it.
pretend like I have not cried over that fact before.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Now everybody gets to live in my land of
I need to get my
Dogs are
dog
too-
a hug.
yeah, me too. Dogs are just too good, man. Dogs are too good.
Too good. But all right, guys, that is going to do it for us tonight. Talking about Obi-Wan. I guarantee you, we're going to be talking about this for a while as we, discover new things that we didn't notice before and think about how this story has influenced the prequels and the original trilogy, and maybe even the sequels. We might see some things. So before we get out of here, Devore, let people know where they can listen to the podcast, where they can find you online, and anything you've got going on right now.
Sure, yeah. So A Large Review of the Force, you can find pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. It's on all the major platforms and all that. And then, as you can see on the screen there, you can follow me on Twitter at A Large Review Pod.
Awesome. I know you guys know to follow the podcast at FOTF Podcast on Twitter. But Meg, why don't you plug your stuff and what you've got going on?
Yeah, I mean, follow me on Twitter at McDowell. I mean, that's where you're going to find all the things I'm up to. Working on a podcast. Not quite ready yet, but we'll get there. It's about Star Wars books because that's a thing I like.
Oh, yeah.
So stay tuned. That's coming someday. I don't know when.
Do I still hold the record as the longest large review episode?
Yes.
Yes!
Yes.
I
It was
ask you
3
that every
hours
time.
about Rogue One.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm surprised you kept her to 3 hours.
I realized it was getting really late and he was an hour ahead of me, so I sped it up a little bit.
I fell asleep while I was waiting for you guys to finish recording.
I'm
and stay up
Meg!
later.
Meg, you know about me. Am I ever not on my bullshit?
I know. It was so late.
It was so late.
I think I apologized 4 separate times.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Podcast movie longer than the movie.
Yes.
Look,
That's fantastic.
look. We also talked about Rebel Rising. It was fine. Fine.
Love that. Rachel, where can
Fine.
people find you on Twitter?
I am on Twitter at Built on Stardust, and I'm on Instagram at Stardust Rebel if you want to see my cosplay, my activism, or a lot of photos of my dog, to be entirely honest with you.
We all have the dogs here. And actually, speaking of cosplay, we do have an interview that's up with Andrew Liptak, who wrote Cosplay A History. Go and check that out when you guys have some free time. And Jason, where can people find you online?
I
If
don't
you
know.
remember your handle.
Oh, it's Jason at Jason B Williams 1 on Twitter. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys, there you have it. Here was our spoiler discussion about Obi-Wan, the entire series, and the finale. Hope you enjoyed it. And remember, we've got episodes coming out on Mondays around 11 a.m. Sometimes it'll be later. Most likely will be later, maybe even a day later. I'm very bad with uploading episodes. But we've also
Every
got...
now and then you get 3 at once because David forgot that we had a podcast.
Exactly. But we do have new Your Star Wars Journey episodes out right now. The latest with Tori Fox, the Mandatorian on Twitter, is up, so you guys can go listen to that. And we have we had Amanda Starling on the show last week, and next week we will have Triad of the Force for the final Your Star Wars Journey episode for the month of June. So make sure to check that out, guys. And until next time, may the Force be with you always.
Woo!